What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name is Michael Broman, aka Allfires. Now, if you haven't seen this reported already, Jonathan Majors is going to do his first interview next week since the trial, and as many articles that reported on this noted, he's going to be doing it with a Disney-owned outlet right after he was fired from Disney-owned Marvel, which is an interesting PR choice as they put it, to say the least. But as I've already seen some people doing, I would not look at the fact that he's doing a Disney outlet-owned interview as proof that Marvel Studios may somehow take him back the way they did with James Gunn after they fired him. That being said, industry insiders have been steadfast that they're going to recast the character and not go away from Kang completely, and most notably this last week, actor Colman Domingo's name emerged reportedly as one of the frontrunners, or at least an actor that Marvel Studios has interest in taking over the role of Kang the Conqueror. Well, today's update comes from an extremely trusted source in the industry, and not a name we bring up often here at the channel, only because when we are re-reporting on him, it's usually via his articles and Deadline. Well, he recently weighed in, as in last night, in response to some of these new actor rumors that are showing up for Kang the Conqueror, and sort of gave a scoop of his own with the timetable that may look to address some of the rumors we hear and in the beginning of the year as far as recasts go. We're going to break down exactly what he said and then talk about it in a greater context for what it means for the recast for Kang and Kang's future in the Multiverse saga. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content at the channel, and that's all we do. Everything from official Easter egg breakdowns, trailers, and reviews to the occasional industry insider report and everything in between. So if that sort of thing's for you, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. That will automatically enter you to win our ongoing PS5 giveaway. The next one is right around the corner and just days away for the Echo drop on Disney Plus. Again, all you got to do, be a sub, leave a comment. If you want, stick around to the end of the video. We get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so today's update actually comes from Justin Kroll, and as I mentioned briefly during the prologue, he's a writer over at Deadline. We've covered his scoops and articles here at the channel many times over the last 4 years. He tweeted out yesterday, and again, in response to some of these names we're hearing like Colman Domingo, and said this about Kang's possible recast in the MCU, quote, "See a lot of who will play Kang next, and here's a top contender for Kang comments this week, and all I'll say is this, don't expect that news anytime soon. There will be plenty of Marvel breaks in the coming weeks on various fronts, but don't hold your breath on that one." Basically, in a nutshell, saying of all the scoops that are coming and around the corner, Kang's recast is not something imminent or a priority for Marvel Studios. He follows it up by saying this, quote, "This isn't dismissing any rumor this week about potential contenders for the role. And make no bones about it, he is directly referencing Daniel RPK's Colman Domingo scoop from earlier in the week. They have respect for each other, they are both trusted sources, that's why he's making sure to clarify this. And then finishes by saying, I don't have any intel on any of those being true or not true, I'm just letting you know. If I were a betting man for what gets announced first, Kang or the Field, I'd put my money on the Field. And if you're not a betting person and you don't understand Kang or the Field, he's basically saying that anybody and anything has a better chance of being announced first than Kang. And if you're reading between the lines, when he says there are a lot of Marvel breaks on many fronts, San Diego Comic-Con this summer is going to be absolutely nuts because they skipped last year. D23 will be less than 60 days after that, one in July, one in September. Between now and then, we should find out who the Fantastic Four cast is, let alone if Galactus is actually going to be in that film. And Deadpool and Wolverine are coming out this summer, and you can be guaranteed we don't know everything or even the half of what's about to happen in that film. So beyond just being specifically a Kang scoop or him updating what he knows and has heard as a writer over at Deadline, it's really just saying there are a lot of really exciting announcements and reveals in front of us. Focus on those because Kang's recast is not a priority. I also quickly want to mention that it was a super classy move by Justin Kroll to put that exception there in the second part of his tweet, because really Daniel Rickman, although he didn't address him by name, is who he's talking about here. Daniel RPK was the only person to name drop this past week with the Colman Domingo scoop. So that's actually who he's referencing, and he didn't have to do that. I just think it's awesome that he did, A, because he wants to make sure that people don't go back to Daniel RPK and say Justin Kroll's debunking you, but B, to show a little respect. And in a day and time where content creators, and for no reason in this space, are taking cracks at each other, I just think that this is a really classy move. Now, that being said, and in reference to what Justin Kroll is saying, I will respond this. We've heard by a lot of accounts that they're going to still roll film at the end of this year on Avengers 5. I'm skeptical of it and think there are some really good reasons that looks like a long shot. Oh, namely the script and the director, things that aren't finished or in place yet. But as soon as they do start rolling film, they're going to have that set in place. Same thing with the Fantastic Four casting announcement. They can only put it off until too long And if they want to hold on to it right up until production starts, that's cool. But once production starts, unless they're going to bring everybody in and out in a cloak and hood, and we've seen how little that works in the past, it's going to be impossible for them to hold on to this information. So what I'm trying to say is, to whatever degree there's an excitement in the fandom for these things to happen and be announced, Marvel Studios is equally working with the same urgency, and because of now things being compounded because of the absence of really any filming or production last year with the strikes, they're already moving on an accelerated timeline, and I think that's what Justin Kroll is specifically referencing here with what's right around the corner. Now, that being said, my sentiment in regards to this has been the same since we found out that Jonathan Majors was fired a couple of weeks ago. Marvel Studios might want to recast this role, but I think it's going to be extremely hard for them to do that. And not just because some actor's going to have to step up and take what Jonathan Majors has already put his indelible mark on, but because there just has not been, as I put it a couple of videos ago, a line around the block for actors who are lining up to try to do Marvel. They actually have had a really hard time, reportedly this last year, locking in the Fantastic Four cast, and obviously with the carousel of directors that they've had a hard time locking in top talent there as well. I think Marvel more than ever has an added stigma now, where it used to just be some people in Hollywood said, no, we're not going to do superhero films. They're like, no, specifically, we're not going to do Marvel films. So if they have any chance of recasting this role with any success with a good actor, I just think the longer they wait, the more in their favor it is. But again, they can't wait too long, because eventually film needs to roll in Avengers 5, and by then they need to have decided what they're doing, and if they are using Kang, he needs to be recast. That being said, guys, who you got as Kang in the MCU? I am all ears. I know we covered the Beyonder rumor about it changing and explaining the recast, and I'm not even sure that that's necessary. Again, I wish they wouldn't even connect those two characters, but if it were up to you, who would you put in the role of Kang for the rest of the Multiverse saga? Let me know down in the comments. I'm all ears. Quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. All right, yes, the Echo pre-screeners have gone out. They actually went out weeks ago for the first 3 episodes, and they got resent out to more journalists this past weekend. Either way, the review and reaction embargo is not up for a couple of days. In fact, I gotta look again, but I think the review embargo for Echo isn't actually up until a couple hours before it posts online for everybody to watch. In that case, I won't do a review. I'm not going to try to rush one out 2 hours before we all watch it. If I have the timing correctly, it's 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday. We're going to do a watch party. I know it's going to be long because it's going to be all 5 episodes at once, so we're going to be here for quite some time. That being said, we're going to drop a PlayStation giveaway for the Easter egg video there, or whatever video I do the next day. That'll be on Wednesday morning, which gives you 5 more days to be entered to win. Super simple. All you got to do, hit the subscribe button, then leave a comment down below, because it's truly random. The more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners will be announced at the end of videos, the same way we're doing here. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on. And as always, if you liked today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. My name's Michael Roman. You can find me in a couple of places, Instagram and Twitter at IamFires. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, iTunes under the name AllFires. And while I sincerely appreciate you checking my music out, thanks for checking this channel out. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.